Hi, welcome to IP series COVID-19 edition, where we talk about everything IP related from the creative and innovative aspects. Like I've always said, IP is everywhere. This podcast is produced by me, Rita Amarichinda. You can also follow me on Anchor and listen to my previous podcast. So, as tradition, we always have a backstory to our IP series, and today is not different from any other day. We're actually celebrating the World Micro, Small and Medium-Sized Enterprise Day. So if you go on Twitter, you see the hashtag MSMES Day. So that gave me the idea to talk about the role of intellectual property and branding in the 21st century of digital disruption, post-Covid-19 aftermath. So, what is a MSME in Nigeria? What do you categorize or think it is? So basically, according to invoice.ng, it is regarded as an enterprise with up to 250 employees. So if you have an enterprise or a business with employees up to 250, then this is among this category. So for a micro enterprise, you have employees between 1 to 9 employees working for the enterprise or company or business. You also have the small enterprise, which comprises of 10 to 49 employees. Then you have the medium enterprise, which consists of 50 to 249 employees. I mean, that's huge and massive, And according to the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investments, we currently have about 36,994,578 million micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise in Nigeria alone. That's huge. So we are accounting for about 84 or 90 something % of the total job in Nigeria and contribute about 48.5% of the gross domestic product, that's the GDP, of the Nigerian economy. So what is the role of MSMEs in an economy? So currently we are going through or experiencing a pandemic globally that has affected a lot of businesses and sectors. My sector is I'm a lawyer basically, so my sector is partially affected by it. But you find that a lot of businesses are trying or struggling to get back on their feet after being on lockdown for a couple of months. So what role can MSMEs play in restoring the economy? They will need to be financially supported in order to help them overcome or deal with this phase post COVID-19. They also contribute to employment and income generation of an economy, exploitation of revenues. They help with the development of the private sectors, because you find out that most of these MSMEs are like private people. They're not like big or huge or government established bodies. We also promotes healthy competition. So even if we might be in the same line or industry, there's some sort of respect and healthy competition amongst the enterprises. It also encourages and fosters creativity and innovation, and that's the IP aspect of today's topic, the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprise day. That's like the whole essence of this, because without you thinking or creating something or building or innovating something, there's no way the private sector will thrive. You also see that they get to go into a lot of partnerships, collaborations, which will help in generating more funds, brand expansion, territory expansion, more consumers. When two brands or two enterprises just join forces, everything is doubled. So, what is the role and relationship? The role, need, relationship, and of IP for MSMEs. Well, if you've been listening to me or you've been following me on Twitter, I've always said that IP, which is intellectual property, basically protects creativity and innovation. It's also made for commercial benefit for the creators and the innovators. It can also be a determining factor of the success of the product or services. It also enhances competitiveness amongst the creators and innovators. So types of IP, you have the industrial design, trademark, copyright and related rights, patent, trade secrets, plant varieties, etc. But in relation to MSMEs, we'll just focus on 4 or 5 of the IPs that are really important for MSMEs. So you have the industrial design. So basically, this type of IP focuses on what the products looks like, what makes it attractive or appealing to its consumers. The visual appeal of the work can be a key influence in the decision making of a consumer. So if I go into a supermarket or a market or a big shop or a big store, whatever, and I see a product I've never seen before, so I'll be looking at the features, that's the body, physical appearance. It might be appealing to me, might be attractive to me, or the color might just get my attention or draw my attention. I might just have to get the product at the end of the day. So in order for an MSME to exploit this, they must register their creation or work as an industrial design, depending on the laws of the country. So if it's Nigeria, you have to register your industrial design under the Industrial Design Act. So according to the WIPO's publication, An Introduction to Industrial Design for Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, it stated that for businesses, designing a product generally implies developing the product's functional features, taking into consideration issues such as the product's marketability, manufacturing cost and ease of transport, storage, repair and disposal. And according to Industrial Design Act, that's the Section 12 of the Nigerian Patent and Design Act, 1970. Yeah, it's really old. An industrial design, it's a combination of lines or colors, or a combination of both lines and colors and any other dimensional form. The requirements, what qualifies a product to be registered as an industrial design, is that it must be new, original, and not contrary to public order or morality. Then the term of duration usually lasts for 5 years. So from the date of the application till the next, till the 5 years, you enjoy protection for your industrial design. However, you can renew for 2 further consecutive periods of 5 years, and that is according to Section 20 of the Patent and Design Act, the Nigerian Patent and Design Act. So what are the role of a creative design for MSMEs? It strengthens a brand, especially when it enjoys a multi-layer IP protection. So basically what this means is that apart from registering your design as as an industrial design. You can register it as a trademark. You can also copyright your design. I'll get into that later on. So it also gives an MSMEs the opportunity to create a new niche market. Gives you the ability to customize your product that will be appealing to a specific market. So it could be that you're looking to appeal your products to appeal to children or adults or teenagers or elderly persons. Why should you register your industrial design? So as the owner of the design, you enjoy exclusive right to prevent other persons from copying or imitating your designs. You can also commercialize or exploit your designs through merchandising deals, licensing. You can also sell it. You can also increase the value of your product, especially when in future your industrial design might you might want to go into a merger or a partnership, or you might want to sell or license it or create a franchise out of your industrial design. The owner can have an upper hand when it comes to negotiation. So let's say you're going to sell your brand at the end of the day, your design at the end of the day, or you're going to a partnership or a merger and acquisition business transaction. Because of the value of your industrial design, you can now negotiate or ask for something higher than you would have originally gotten after your IP as an intangible asset has been evaluated. So can you register a symbol or an emblem, for instance the Nigerian flag? No, you can't do that. How about an icon for an app? Do you think it will be considered to be an industrial design? Yes. It's also important to keep the design confidential before registering it, since it must meet the requirement that it must be new. Initially I made mention of the requirements for registering an industrial design, that it must be new, original, and not contrary to public order or morality. So one of the things you need to fulfill before applying is that you must not have disclosed it to the public. So you can't create a design, go and do an advert in the public like, oh, this is our new brand logo, without having registering it. So you need to do that as MSME. Can an unregistered design enjoy IP protection? In Nigeria, no, but in other jurisdictions like in the EU, the European Union, yes, they do. But that's like for like 3 years before you make a formal application. Can you do an international registration? Yes, you can. You can do that through the Hague system. You can also, use the international classification known as the Locarno classification. So yeah, that's okay. Yeah. So you also, initially I talked about copyrighting your design. Now, according to the Design Rule 1971, don't bite me. I know it's really old, like 39 years old, I guess. Yeah, or more. 49 years old. You can apply for an extension of copyright in a design registered by virtue of Section 20 of the Act. This shall be made. You can do this before the expiration period of the copyright in the original registered design. So what this means is that copyright as an IP basically, your work enjoys automatic protection from the moment it's made or created. So if the designs you were sketching before you finally made it into a finished product, that's like your sketch work, it enjoys protection as a copyright. So before your term of protection in the design expires, you can apply for an extension of copyright in that design. So that gives you 20 years more protection in that work. So the types of designs that cannot be registrable, they include sculpture other than the cast or model, intended to be used as a model. You have plaques or medals, printed material on a literary or artistic character, including book jackets, postcards, stamps, trade advertisements, trade forms, etc. Now, the second intellectual property I'll be talking about is trademark. So trademark basically is like, I think it's like the most important IP for MSMEs, because so in Nigeria, before you start up your enterprise, you need to do a CAC registration. So that name, everything about that company can be trademarked. So from the name to the logo, to the symbols, to the color, the shape, sign. You also have non-traditional trademarks like sounds, smells, single colors, three-dimensional signs, holograms, gestures, fluid and mutating trademarks, moving image. So there are a lot of things that you can trademark when it comes to your enterprise or your business. So trademark basically is like a source identifier. It makes people identify your brand from another brand, differentiates your brand from another brand. It's also a good branding strategy for MSMEs. Then you have that. For example of single color trademarks, you have the Tiffany blue. You also have the three-dimensional trademark for the Heinz ketchup bottle. Advantages of using a trademark is that it differentiates your brand from another brand. It is also a good marketing branding tools. It reduces confusion amongst consumers. So I can basically differentiate a Nestle bottled water from a Ragolis bottled water, or just anything that differentiates your brand and doesn't cause confusion. It's also one of the most effective weapons against unfair competition. It also helps in brand imaging and reputation. So types of marks. So you have the service marks, which are used in relation to services such as NatWest or Barclays Bank, First Bank. So any business that renders services, it can register its work as a service mark. However, under our trademark law, there's no law providing that you can register your mark as a service mark. Then you have well-known marks. These are marks that have garnered or gained goodwill, reputation, and is well known by competent authority in that country, say Nigeria. You can also enjoy protection when that mark is not registered. So those are classified as unregistered marks. So if your mark, which is a trademark, is well known, like everyone knows your mark. So let's use Coca-Cola. Everyone knows Coca-Cola. And let's say Coca-Cola, for example, is not registered. Coca-Cola enjoys some form of protection. Then you have a collective mark, which is a mark owned by an association or cooperative that is used to market their products. Certification marks, you have that these are marks that are defined by standards or compliance that help consumers to identify the products in questions. So what are the pitfalls? What are those things that an MSME must look out for when creating a trademark? So your mark should not be suggestive in nature. For example, purple, or let's use Apple. Apple, we know, is a fruit, but Apple is like a phone company. It should not be arbitrary. That means the mark should not have a meaning that is not logical or have any logical relationship with the product. Your mark should not be descriptive in nature. So if I call, say I have a fruit market or a fruit shop, and I call it fruit shop or apple shop, say I sell just apple, that's already descriptive. That the mark I'm registering for is for selling apple basically, and that's not that won't that won't fly when you apply for it. And you have generic signs or marks. You can always opt to maintain a strong trademark that requires proper use of the trademark, as it gives you the high chance of your application being accepted. You also enjoy protection, able to distinguish your mark. You can promote the authenticity of your mark, check if there's a domain name available for the mark. So trademark application basically has the so it's basically first to file. So whoever files a trademark first in a mark or a logo or symbol or a name enjoys the trademark registration. However, if you can prove that you were using that mark before the other person actually registered it, then you have a chance of retaining your trademark. So a trademark is in Nigeria is enjoys protection for 7 years and is renewed for another 7 years and another 7 years. But through brand expansion, you can extend your trademark protection or registration. So you see that a lot of these brands have been there for 100 plus years. I think I did see a post last year stating that Amazon has about 1,500 trademarks, and that's like lots of assets, everywhere. Trademark as an intellectual property is territorial in nature. Same thing with industrial design. Then you have trade secret. So trade secret basically is like any confidential business information that gives you an edge over another person. So if I have, just like the famous Coca-Cola trade secret, no one knows the secret recipe of Coca-Cola, and there's been this myth that it's just 2 persons in the world that know the recipe to Coca-Cola, and they don't travel in the same flight, but no one knows if it's true, but it has stayed for so long. Then you have copyright protection, which protects creative expressions such as literary and artistic works. According to our Nigerian copyright law, it lists books, artistic works, music, film, photographs, etc. as work that enjoys copyright protection. So you can't, basically, works that don't enjoy protections are ideas. You can't copyright an idea. You can't copyright a title or a phrase, short phrase, or a word. Basically, it also gives the copyright owner bundles of exclusive rights that is entitled to economic rights. So the economic right gives you, the right to earn money from your work, which could be from the sale of your work or licensing of your work, broadcasting to the public, by yourself communicating it to the public. Then you have the moral rights that gives you the right to have a say in your work, even if you've sold. So even if you've sold your book and they want to convert it or adapt it into a movie, and say some of the scenes or stories in your book, they want to tweak it a bit, they will need your consent to be able to do that, because if they go against your wish, they are infringing on your right, your moral right. So you have the related right, which are granted to performers, broadcasters, and phonogram producers. So the term of protection for a copyright work is the life of the author plus life of the author plus 70 years after the author has died. I initially said that copyright works enjoy automatic protection from the moment it's being created in a fixed medium. However, you need to deposit a copy with the copyright office in your country, and in Nigeria you have to do that with the Nigerian Copyright Commission. Issue of authorship and ownership in copyright. So the author of a copyrighted work is a person who creates the work. while the owner of the work is the person that has the exclusive right to exploit or commercialize the work. Basically, you have issues of, so this always comes up when people say, oh, I created this work in the course of my employment with company A, B Limited, and that work belongs to me. What does your employment contract state? Or someone comes and say, company CD commissioned me to do a work, that work belongs to me. If there's no formal agreement, then issues of authorship and ownership will always arise. So long and short, always have a contract that states who the author and who the creator of the work is. Another form of IP or ways an MSME can exploit IPs through merchandising. So merchandising basically is a form of marketing whereby an MSME can use its IP, which could be a trademark or a copyright or industrial design, on a product to enhance the attractiveness of the work. It also requires prior authorization of the IP owner. And then finally you have patent. So patent basically focuses on innovation or innovative work. So it's like a crucial, very important tool that MSMEs would definitely need in order to level up. You can also draw maximum benefit from a new invention or technology. Now, the same principle that applies in trademark about first to file, so it's also applicable when it comes to a patent. So it's first to file a patent that enjoys that gets the grant. A patent lasts basically for 20 years after it's been registered. The requirement is that in order for your work to enjoy or get that patent, it must be new and novel, involve an inventive step, and is capable of industrial application. This is according to section 1 sub 2 of our Patent and Design Act, but it's like a general principle that is applicable globally, that in order for a work to be patented, it must be new or novel, it must involve an inventive step, and is capable of industrial application. So the definition of a patent is that it is an exclusive right granted by the government for an invention that meets the requirements which I listed previously. Another requirement is that it must not be disclosed to the public. So if your work or your invention has been disclosed to the public, sorry boo, you can't get a patent for that invention. And whenever, as an MSME, you need an IP lawyer for whatever you're doing, your inventions, your creations, you name it. So if you have a creation or an invention, and I've listed out the types of IP that you can explore in protecting your work. So you can have like a multi-layered protection. So you can protect your business name, the logo, the symbol and design as a trademark, your sketches, your books, your music, film, whatever it is you're doing as a copyright, or let's say one product can enjoy all of that. So one product can have like a patent protection and a trademark protection and an industrial design protection, or a trademark, patent and a copyright protection, or a copyright, trademark, patent and industrial. So you see that you have a lot of things to benefit from all of this. The next topic I'll be talking about is IP strategy and brand expansion. What is branding? So branding basically is what a company, artists or IP owners use to differentiate their goods, services, their product from other brands. It is not just a means of identification, but it's a power of influence to the consumer. So brand equals to intangible asset, equals to durability and profitable asset. How do you build a brand? You create awareness, you build loyalty, you work on your quality and customer service, etc., etc. What are the elements of an IP strategy? You need to, take advantage of research and in development, which is basically called R&D operation, IP protection and monetization of your IP, and have a sense of commitment to your brand, build trust in your company and amongst your workers and your consumers. Have a good business plan for expanding, work towards getting partnership and financing, work in creating quality over quantity. And I think that's like an issue in Nigeria, where a lot of people would rather go for quantity than quality. So if my product is, has good quality and I put like a high price to it, it's being regarded as, an inferior good. However, if I can make 10 of those and I put it at a cheaper price, I'd rather go for that, which is why you see that people rather buy a fake luxury brand than buy the original luxury brand. So I already talked about the types of IP that you can use. So I also did mention domain name as well. So you also need to think of commercializing through licensing. Franchising is also a good way for an MSME to expand to other jurisdiction. An IP strategy builds your IP portfolio and also builds your IP assets. So IP assets basically are like intangible assets. You can't see them, but they are just there. Things to look out for and consider while expanding. You have to find a way to tackle counterfeit and piracy. I think last week or a few weeks ago we celebrated the anti-counterfeiting day, and I did do a post and a podcast about that. So if you can also listen to that. Counterfeiting and piracy is like a huge problem for creators and innovators, and also for the government, because when you can't get original goods, it has like serious effect on everyone. Another thing is that when it comes to developing an enforcement strategy, this will depend on the jurisdiction and the security of the situation. You may also sue the counterfeiter or the person pirating your goods for an IP infringement. You have issues of border control. In countries like the EU and the US, they have implemented models that they help to track counterfeit goods by allowing seizure and destruction by working with the customs. So if a counterfeit good passes their border, it's going to be destroyed automatically. I think we do that. I'll say we do that, but not so much. We also need to maintain tight control over the manufacture distribution channel through appropriate contracts. You also need to register the goods and products and services with the relevant IPOs, as intellectual property offices. You also need to consider IP-related issues when it comes to expanding to other jurisdictions, such as protection and clearance. You need to avoid public disclosure of your new invention and product, especially with regards to industrial design and patent. Those type of IPs require that you don't do any public disclosure before you apply. Confidentiality is very important, whether for your business or as an IP. You need to do IP search at the various IPOs, so you can get IP clearance and also determine who your competitors are in the market. You also need to conduct IP due diligence for the new product which you're working on. So what are the issues that MSMEs face? So number one, most of these enterprises don't have any IP education or awareness or foundation. They also lack long-term goals. Apologies if I offend anyone with this, but I think that's it. So you basically have a short-term goal that, I want to start this company and I want to do this. But what are your goals for the next 10 to 50 years? Do you have that in place? I doubt that. They don't see IP as an asset, but as an expense. So when I advise people like, oh, you need to think of trademarking, you're like, no, I don't have the money now, it's too much, I'm looking for financing or funding, all those kind of things. IP is very important, and the earlier you register it, the better for you. There's no proper corporate structure. Most of the MSMEs are just winging it. Apologies again. Like, everyone just want to hustle or be an entrepreneur, or just say I'm my own CEO sort of. Then you also have issues of authorship and ownership, especially with regards to employment or commission. And I did mention that when I was talking about copyright, I said, how do you determine who the creator of your work is, or who the owner of your work is, or the author of the work is? It's through your contract, basically. So what's the way forward? We're rounding up right now. The way forward. So basically, do not rely on your physical assets. Identify your intellectual properties. Identify who the IP owner is if you're not the owner of it. Protect your intellectual property through a non-disclosure agreement or a non-compete agreement. So sometimes entrepreneurs are discouraged from signing this type of agreement because they basically don't have a good bargaining power. But where you develop and build your IP portfolio, that is where, and that's the brand strategy you're talking about. That's where you have a good negotiating power to have a say in whatever is being discussed in front of you. Register your intellectual property and explore a multi-layered protection. Have a basic knowledge and understanding of intellectual property. Know your right as an IP owner. Have an intellectual property lawyer in your retainer. I don't know how much I can stress this, but this is really, really, really important. You might think you don't need an IP lawyer, but you really do. From the formation to post formation, all of that, you need an IP lawyer to properly guide you on the right things to do. Understand the role and importance of MSMEs in the country, and also the economy of that country. Documentation is very important, especially when it comes to intellectual property. Contracts, don't shy away from contract. Don't do MOUs, they're not legally binding. Make sure that your agreement is tied to, call it whatever name, and give a lawyer to draft it. I don't know why you guys are scared. You can always go into an agreement with your lawyer, like, I'm going to pay you in installments, or I put you on my retainer, or you give the person a certain percentage. Just do something. Be open to collaborations and partnership. Take advantage of the gaps exposed during this pandemic/lockdown. A lot of business were forced to shut down. A lot of professions were affected. What can you, as an MSME, do? What are those gaps that you figured out? Like, you sat home and you're like, first month nothing, second month nothing, or the first week, second week, third week nothing. Like, what are those things that you figure, like, okay, once things go back to normal, I need to go back and re-strategize, restructure my company. Finally, but not the least, explore the fusion of intellectual property and information technology. Now there's so much and so many digital disruption out there. Imagine when there was pandemic and then there were no Netflix, there was no internet services. How did people actually cope with everything that happened? So, in conclusion, I feel so sad going, but yeah, I have to go because I'm done, and I hope you've learned something. But in conclusion, happy MSME Day. So if you are an MSME, keep doing what you're doing. It's going to pay off someday. One day it's really going to pay off. Keep being you. And if you've enjoyed this, give me a shout out on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Esmeraldo99, or just Google or type in Anwuri. You can also send us an email to at ipseriesinfo@gmail.com, or which is PARDOO Prime, PRIME legal at gmail.com. You can also check us out on Instagram. So yeah, let me know what you think. So if you have questions or comment, whatever it is, just holla at your girl. I remain Rita and we're reaching that. Thank you so much to my new listeners, to my old listeners, and everyone who has always been there for me. Thank you. Bye for now until the next IP series. Take care. Bye.